All right, news just coming in. We are now learning that the Enforcement Directorate is all set to file its charge sheet against Partha Chatterjee. The charge sheet is likely to be filed today. This, of course, is the first charge sheet that's being filed by the Enforcement Directorate in the SSC recruitment scam. So, this essentially is the Bengal job scam in which we are seeing this first charge sheet of the ED being filed. This ED charge sheet is likely to be filed today. So essentially, the investigation agency all set to file its charge sheet against Partha Chatterjee in the SSC recruitment scam. So do remember that the Enforcement Directorate has been investigating the case for quite some time now. We are given to understand that that investigation perhaps moving forward in terms of the Enforcement Directorate now being all set to file its charge sheet against Partha Chatterjee. Partha Chatterjee, of course, is one of the accused in this scam, and the charge sheet is likely to be filed today. This, of course, will be the first charge sheet so far that's been filed by the Enforcement Directorate in the Bengal jobs scam. So that's the latest that we are getting in this particular case. I think Shravan joins us right now. Shravan, tell us more.
But in fact, we can now confirm that the Enforcement Directorate is all set to file its first charge sheet in the SSC recruitment scam. Remember, in this particular case, senior Trinamool Congress leader Partha Chatterjee was arrested. Along with him, a close associate of Partha Chatterjee, Orpita Mukherjee, was also arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. This after a huge cash stash was recovered from Orpita Mukherjee's residence. The focus essentially of this particular charge sheet being the link between Partha Chatterjee and Orpita Mukherjee, and the fact that Orpita Mukherjee essentially acted as a conduit in this particular SSC recruitment scam. Money was taken from some of the candidates, undeserving candidates who ended up getting the job, and those who were on the merit list, higher on the merit list, did not land up with a job. And remember, this comes after the Calcutta High Court had basically stepped in, asking the Central Bureau of Investigation to probe the matter. And secondly, what is important to point out here is that all this while, Partha Chatterjee was basically trying to distance himself from Orpita Mukherjee. It turns out that in the investigation that has been carried out by the Enforcement Directorate, they have basically come across land deeds. These deeds which indicated that they were joint properties of Orpita Mukherjee and Partha Chatterjee. And not just that, also certain other deeds that the Enforcement Directorate has come across, which they believe is nothing but the proceeds of crime that was basically being diverted by the senior Trinamool Congress leader. All that basically figuring in the charge sheet that is going to be filed by the Enforcement Directorate. In fact, we're given to understand that ED officers have already reached the court in Kolkata, and in a short while from now, the charge sheet would be filed. Cognizance of it would be taken at a later date, a date that would be set by the court. Thereafter, more details likely to emerge, but certainly a lot of progress essentially being made in the Bengal land job scam.
All right, Shravan Sen, our senior editor, joining us there. Thank you for the moment. Let's also go across to Kishale, who's reporting from a Bangla newsroom. He has more details. Kishale, tell us more about what you're expecting today. Of course, the ED set to file its charge sheet in the job scam.
Well, exactly, Nupur. As Shravan was pointing out, the ED team, 4-member team, has already left the CGO complex office, the CBI ED office, and they have left for the court where they'll be filing the charge sheet. They'll be submitting the charge sheet against Partha Chatterjee and Orpita Mukherjee, as Shravan was pointing out. And also with them is a lawyer who will be taking up the whole process. We are getting to know that the charge sheet which they are going to file has detailed information about all the investigations that has been done till date by ED. We have seen how stacks of cash was recovered from Orpita Mukherjee's house, who was a close aide of Partha, and then we saw ED visiting different locations, including other close aides of Partha Chatterjee like Kollan Ganguly and others, and all of them were investigated. Their house were being searched. Many of them were summoned to the ED office and they were questioned, and finally the first charge sheet in this case will be filed. We are showing first visuals as well. The ED officials are reaching, they have reached the court premises. As we are getting to know, they left from the CBI office, CGO complex, from the ED office in CGO complex here in Kolkata about half an hour back. And right now, the process of submitting and filing the charge sheet is on. And with them is a lawyer, the ED lawyer, who is taking care of the whole process. And also 4 ED officials, investigators are there in the court premises to take care of the whole process. Nupur.
Absolutely, as you're pointing out, of course, we are expecting the charge sheet to be filed today. But what I wanted to ask you also, of course, was, just the sheer optics in this case, essentially, Kishle, was something that stunned people all across the country. The stashes of cash that were found and the linkages and the property documents, those optics nobody can forget.
Well, exactly, as you rightly said, the whole country was shocked to see that stockpile of cash, the huge stashes of cash on the recovered from the house of Orpita Mukherjee was a close aide of Partho Chatterjee. And not only the cash, but also envelopes of the higher education department were found from Orpita's house, where there were documents that mentioned that who will be recruited in what post and what payment they gave instead of the job, in return of the job. So the whole details of this whole scam was there, right there in Orpita Mukherjee's house. There was a red diary and a black diary that was found with names of candidates, undeserving candidates who did not pass the TET exam or other exams in this whole process, and still they were recruited in terms of in return of money, or because they were very close to some ministers or Trinamool Congress leaders. These are the charges, these are the allegations, and we saw and we were shocked to see that amount of cash recovered in multiple flats and apartments of Orpita Mukherjee. And later on she said that that was not my money, that was Partho Chatterjee's money. They kept the money in my flat. I could not even use my apartment. So all these information it came out in public, and we were the first one to investigate the whole matter from our end as well, and we gave exclusive information about the whole money trail as well. So right now CBI is reaching ED is reaching the court to file the charge sheet, and we are tracking the developments.